Okay, so we are filming another quick video in the 2023 Tesla Model Y, and what you'll probably notice behind me are these ambient lights in the blue. So that is what we're talking about today. This is an interior lighting kit from EVBASE. Let's get right into it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I make content about tech, travel, and camera gear, and we're talking all about my 2023 Tesla Model Y today and this interior lighting setup from EVBASE. So the first thing you're going to notice is these lights here that are running along the entire glass roof. I really enjoy those. And what you're not seeing, which I'll show you now, are these lights right here that are running along the entire dashboard. So I really love the look of this. All right, so first of all, let's just talk about the lighting kit itself. This is actually a two-piece purchase. First, you've got these roof lights that come as a separate package, and then you've got the dashboard light. Both of them are very similar. They are both high quality, fully lit LED strips that are attached via two-sided tape, and then they are connected into control boxes that allow them to turn on, turn off with the vehicle. Not only that, but these are app controlled and they do change color to anything you want. So first of all, let's go ahead and switch those to red. We've got blue, got pink, and let's go something a little bit more interesting. You can see here we've got a rainbow setup, a moving rainbow setup, and you can do this. There are just so many hundreds and hundreds of different variations here. So as you can see, probably some of the lights changing in the background as I'm flipping through this. It is super cool. It's really gimmicky at times. For me, I use this for ambient lighting in the vehicle because if you've ever sat in a Tesla Model Y before, you know that this thing is very lacking on ambient light. So I'm just going to continue to flip through as I talk about this. So first, let's just talk about install and what comes in the box. All right, so here's just a jumble of cables because obviously before we install this, we want to make sure that everything works. So let me just show you. These right here are the light strips. I have the one for the dashboard, and then I have the two over here for the sunroof area. They are all relatively the same. I think they're also pretty similar in length. And then each of those is connected to a computer or power box that we can scan. We'll be able to control that with the app. And what I've also done is connected them to this 12-volt converter power source. So I've got all of them plugged in here. And here's what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna hit this power button. And we can see here that we have power. So all three of the strips work. I really like the quality of these lights. This looks really nice. And also you can tell on camera, it doesn't flicker like standard LEDs, which is great. Really nice frequency there. And right now we have it on the rainbow setting. So everything works. Let's go ahead and get to installing. This should be relatively easy. And again, like I said, I didn't really want a kind of gaudy set of lights. I wanted pretty simple. I didn't need anything on the back of the seats or in the center console. I really just wanted something that ran along the dashboard, and then we're gonna have these run along the sides of the roof just to give you some ambient lighting. And I think it probably goes without saying, I won't have them set to rainbow as a standard lighting option, but again, you can tell here that these have a really high quality animated feel. So right now it is cycling through the entire rainbow spectrum. I think it's almost 264 variants of colors. So that gives us a lot of options to choose what color we want the interior to be. We can set it to rainbow if we wanted to for some interesting mood lighting. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the quality of these so far, even though the packaging was a little bit iffy and a little bit worrying, but so far so good. Another thing that I will call out is these control boxes. They're kind of cheap. They're obviously made out of plastic, so I don't expect too much, but again, they're just going to be sitting inside the car. They were just housing the electronics, so I think it's fine. And LEDs are cheap, they're long lasting, and they're easy to replace, which again is why I went with the 12-volt powered option. You also get the USB power option as well, so you can choose to plug it into a USB port or use a 12-volt power connector. All right, and now that we have everything plugged in, let's go ahead and fire it up. Bam. That looks so cool. It is very low key, and that's the thing that I like about it. I've recessed it in pretty deep, so if we get a higher look here, you're not going to see the light itself, you're just going to see the light cast onto the inside of the dashboard, which I really like. So now that I've got the app connected, I can just go ahead and change our different lights. It's a little blue, a little purple, yellow, classic. You can change it along any spectrum, so you can see in the back as I switch this, the light is changing. Very cool. I'm pretty happy with this so far. I kind of dig this purple. I'll continue to play with it. Obviously there's different styles, so you can do autoplay, music, magic forward, magic back, and that changes the animation of the light. Pretty happy with this so far. Okay, let's install the other set of lights. All right, so if you look very closely, you can see the light strip running along the entire headliner. I've done it in a way where I just want the light strip to peek out just a tiny bit, but it fits really perfectly. I'd say when you're doing this, just do it carefully. Depends on how recessed you want it. If you want the light strip completely out of sight, you can set it back a little bit, but I have it where it just peeks over the interior lining, and that allows the light to leak out in a pretty nice and classy way. Again, I don't want something too gaudy, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. It took about 5 minutes. Again, two-sided tape this, really easy. And then what you'll see here is the first cable of the light that I've run. I'm gonna run this through the back, through this section so that we can plug it into the back, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. All right, and then the final piece is you snake the wires through from the back seat into the trunk. I ran everything down this rubberized area here so you can see the cables running out, but it's relatively easy. You just snake the cables through. Then we are going to run it into this piece, and we're going to plug it right into the 12 volts over there, and we will be done. So again, these things look great. This is different than some of the things on the market where it's like a transparent tube and one light source that runs through. This entire strip and the ones on the roof are entirely covered in LEDs. So the LED light runs along the entire length of it, so you can have a fully high quality custom light setup, just like the one that's happening here. I would probably never run this in my vehicle standard, but the nice thing is when you start the vehicle up, or I'll show you, I'm just gonna manually turn the lights off. But when you turn the lights on, or when the car starts up, this is the startup sequence. It does do that like rainbow visual. And then it goes into its standard state. Right now I have it in this rainbow light setup. So the dashboard setup was incredibly easy. You don't have to remove any parts. For me, you just kind of pop off this side piece here so you can allow the cabling to run down and through to what I have it set up as is the 12 volt. So I've run everything into the 12 volt connector here. And same thing for the lights on the ceiling. This was a little bit more complicated, but again, super simple. You run the lights along the gap in this trim and the glass, and you run it all the way to the back, and then you fish those cables through to the trunk. But for some of you, you can plug the sunroof lights directly into like the car's wiring. I didn't do that. I put it into the 12 volt, which is really helpful. And what's nice is you can see that that automatically turned off. So the car has been sitting idle. It's not doing anything. So the light shuts off with the ambient light in the vehicle. And it also turns back on when something triggers the vehicle to turn on. So again, let me just quickly show you. This is where I have the sunroof lights plugged in. I've got it into the 12 volt back here, and all of the cabling is run behind this pillar. Super simple. I'm not going to get really into it. All right, so here are the things that I want to spend my time talking about for this lighting kit. First of all, why I chose a roof and dashboard setup over some of the more complex ones that like cover this whole area, the back of the seats, and all the different crevices in between the doors. I like the Mercedes interior look. I think it's fine, and same thing with BMW, but I think it's a little bit intense, in my opinion, to have the entire interior of the cabin lit up like that. Again, it's just personal preference. I don't like that much lighting in the vehicle, and obviously I'm saying that as rainbow lights glow above my head, but this is not the standard light setting that I have for this vehicle. With that said, this is the color that I usually have in my vehicle when I'm driving at night. I think the blue is great, and I can turn down the brightness, so I can dim this to a very subtle ambient light versus something bright and obnoxious. Same thing for the dashboard here. So that's kind of where I like the lights coming from my light. It's just the dashboard is relatively dim. I have it set so that it doesn't reflect into my windshield. And then on the roof, I have that set at a brightness that applies a good amount of light on the interior, but you can't see from the outside of the vehicle. So that's the other nice thing, is this is an all glass roof, but the light does not emit brightly out of the top of the vehicle. So even at night, you're not going to see a lot of that coming from the car. I just want something classier. I want something a little more low key and subtle, but still gives me the lighting I want. So with that said, really happy with the vehicle and the colors itself. And again, another thing you'll notice is that light keeps turning off, but it's on purpose. It's by design. So that's the other thing I want to show you, is when you order the kit, make sure you add one of these. I actually really love this thing. This is an auto shut-off module. You can have it included with your order. So the auto shut-off module does one thing. It automatically turns the lights off after, I think, however long it takes the stock little circle bulbs in the Tesla to turn off. That's when those turn off. The reason for that is without those, every single time the car is awake or not in sleep mode, these lights stay on because they are plugged into my 12 volt. I didn't want to hardwire them into the vehicle. So every time the car wakes up from sleep, say you check your app or say you get too close to the vehicle, the 12 volt battery will turn on and it'll power the accessories plugged in. So these lights will come on. And for me, if I have this parked outside at night, I don't want the car being lit up when I'm not near it, or say when I'm checking it. That was a problem for me. So I actually spent a ton of time talking to the team over at EVBASE about the solution. And that's the other thing that I will say, is that I don't want to review and make a video of a product unless I've fully tested it. So I have been talking to them. I told them my problem. I told them how I wanted to solve it. They had the solution. They sent it over, and I've been testing that solution to make sure it fits my needs and the user experience that I want, and the one that I would share with you. So that's why it takes me longer to put out these Tesla videos, because I don't want to just get a product, review it really quickly, throw it up and tell you to buy it, and then down the road there's some problem with it. The other thing that I love about this auto shut-off module is that when the vehicle is in motion, so when you're in the vehicle, it is actively on, the auto power does not turn those lights off. Obviously, I'm sitting in the car right now and nothing is happening, so that module knows to shut those off. But other than that, everything else works great. So once the car is in motion, all the ambient lighting stays on. And when I get out of the car, close it, and everything locks, after about 10-20 seconds, all the lights turn off again. So really helpful, super, super useful. So with that said, I would personally recommend this to everyone because, one, it's a very, very easy install. Okay, so once you have it in, it looks great. I think it's classy, and you can change this color brightness to whatever you want. Like, you could get a little bit more peacocky, you can have it run rainbow, but I really like the way that this looks in my car. The setup was very simple. The auto power off modules, that's what you have to get though, if you want the experience to feel very OEM. That means when you get out of the car and you close the doors, the lights turn off by themselves. They don't turn on automatically when the car wakes up, because every time you check your app, every time you do something with the vehicle, if you get too close, the doors will unlock. That naturally turns on the 12 volt and it turns these lights on. So with the auto off module, that will not happen. What happens though is when you open the door, all the lights come on. When you drive, the lights stay on. So if you want that experience, that OEM experience, I would highly recommend getting those modules with the lights. So for the lights from EVBASE, I think the overall setup looks great. The front dashboard looks really well illuminated. Again, I adjust the brightness so it's not too bright and it looks more subtle, more OEM. Same thing for the lights that run along the glass roof. What I will say is if you do purchase a set, make sure you get the auto turn off modules. Again, probably some feedback for EVBASE and their manufacturer. It's not EVBASE's fault, the manufacturer. They really should have baked that type of auto shut off functionality into the control box itself versus having it being a separate box. And the other thing is you need to get an auto shut off module for each of the lights. So I have one control box for the front and I have one control box for the two on the roof. I've tested them. I have both of the auto shut off modules plugged into the control boxes. They both automatically turn off after about 1 minute, whatever the exact time is when the interior OEM lights of the Tesla turn off. So it's pretty perfect and well timed. I feel good with that. Both of the lights turn off at the same time. And then when you open the door, both the lights start up at the same time. So you get that rainbow startup sequence, and then it goes into the whatever predefined light color, brightness, or pattern you already have set for the vehicle. And the nice thing is that auto shut off is intelligent enough to know that once the vehicle is started and you are driving and you are moving, not to turn the lights off. So you keep that ambient light during the entire drive experience while there's someone in the car. And then when the car is parked, even if you're sitting in the car for a bit, the lights will turn off after a minute. If you get out of the car, you close it, you lock it, the lights will turn off automatically after 1 minute. The only time that they stay on is when you are driving, which is exactly the experience I want. Very much similar to the BMW or the Mercedes interior lighting kits, but in my opinion, a little bit less in your face. I have them just in those 3 spots, front and then the left and right side of the roof. Nothing along the center console, nothing along the backs of the seat. I don't really love all of that ambient light everywhere. I just want some really nice mood lighting for the vehicle to keep it classy. With that said, another thing I want to add is my experience with EVBASE has been fantastic. As soon as I got the lights and installed them, I noticed the problem and I text them right away to get to the bottom of it. And we've been working back and forth. They've sent me a couple of modules to test out, and that is why it's taken me much longer to get this video up, because I want to make sure I get it right for you. So like I mentioned before, less of an install channel. I'm really still focused on doing high quality product reviews. I want the build quality, the functionality, the features, and whether or not it's worth your time. I'm not just going to plug something in and then just like throw it up on the channel. I really did go through lots of conversations with EVBASE to troubleshoot to find the perfect solution for my car so that I could share it with you. And that's why it takes a few weeks sometimes, if not more, to properly test a product. Even something I would consider relatively cheap. The whole set costs less than $200, $300, and still I want to make sure I put it through its paces, because it's not money you want to throw away. So with that said, I would highly recommend it. Check out the link in the bio below for the dashboard light as well as the sunroof lights. They have other sets as well. You can do stuff for the center console and the back of the seats. Not really my cup of tea, but overall, I'm really happy with the quality of the lights. The auto shut-off mechanism works perfectly the way that I want my experience to be, and I would highly recommend picking up a set from them. If you like this content, hit that like button, subscribe for more just like this. I will catch y'all in the next one. Thank you all for watching. Have a good one.